to you later. I will quickly share my screen as well. Can any one of you confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. So over the next 60 minutes or so, this is what we're going to do. I have already done the necessary introductions. I will, however, quickly take you through AIM research. I think many of you who are already on the call, you guys have already worked with AIM research in some shape or the form. But still, let me give you a very quick overview of AIM research. Post that, we will deep dive into two specific reports. One is the Agentic AI playbook that we have written last month, and we will be sharing key insights. This is specifically designed for sales and marketing leaders, for AR community leaders, and also for the tech buyers. The key insights from this particular report will help the audience identify what are the real trends that are there in this specific space. And so we will essentially discuss how big, first of all, is the agentic AI only a buzz, or is there some real adoption that enterprises are looking at? If yes, if it is real enterprise adoption, then what is the overall opportunity pie for agentic AI? We will take a look at that. What kind of industry verticals are actually adopting agentic AI? What kind of use cases? What business functions? What are some specific challenges that organizations are facing in the area of agentic AI? When enterprises look to working with agentic AI services vendors and platform vendors, what are the key vendor selection criteria? So we will we will explore all of these themes when we discuss the Agentic AI playbook. So this section will be taken up by myself and my co-speaker and team member, Navneet. This will be followed by a segment on GCC market trends. I think many of you are from the Indian market, and GCC is a very hot trend in the Indian market. So Abhijit is the research analyst focusing on the GCC market, and he will take you through some key market trends that we are seeing in the GCC space in India. And he will, as I said, he will distill insights from a couple of his reports. So moving forward, so we are a global analyst and advisory firm. We are a part of AIM Media House. And in terms of technology focus areas, we are heavily focused on analytics and data management, AI, and GCC tech ecosystems. In fact, the birth of Analytics India magazine was to cover news articles, to cover news stories around analytics and data management. That is how Analytics India magazine was started way back. And over the period of time, we have started to cover AI as well. And now when we look at AI, we have the entire breadth and depth covering traditional AI ML platforms and solutions to Gen AI to Agentic AI. And over the last couple of years, we have also started to focus on GCC tech ecosystems. And we have written a number of research reports around that. In terms of, we are a global firm, but we would like to believe that our current geo focus is on the Indian market. And we are predominantly expanding our focus on the US market as well. You should actually visualize the overall services portfolios of AIM Research by these four different pillars. One of the first pillars is data platforms. We have a number of data products. One of the first products is GCC Explorer. Consider this to be a database of about 1400 plus GCCs that are operational in India at this point in time. So this is platform-led intelligence that you can use to make decisions regarding your strategy, regarding your GTM initiatives for the Indian GCC segment, customer segment. We are also currently working on a number of other data products, which include market sizing and forecast estimation for analytics, data management, AI technology ecosystems. We are working on a data-led product for focusing on AI use cases. And we already have a data platform. We are currently in the process of refining it. This product focuses on the top AI startups, Gen AI startups, and right now Agentic AI startups currently operational in India as well as in the US market. So this is called Bot Bazaar. The second pillar is research reports. We are a traditional analyst and advisory firm. We write research reports, and some of the syndicated reports are familiar to you as well. I think some of you have already participated in AIM Research PEMA quadrant report. PEMA stands for market penetration and technology maturity. In fact, our data science service providers PEMA quadrant report is in its 8th edition right now. We have already written 7 PEMA quadrant reports for data science service providers. This was started way back in 2018, 2019. So this is in fact one of the longest running PEMA quadrant reports. And we have written PEMA quadrant reports focused on GCC service providers. We have written one on data engineering services and a number of other topics. We also write research reports focused on industry pulse. So for example, we write specific reports focusing on trends in analytics, trends in agentic AI, trends in data management, and so on and so forth. We are coming out with very short market brief reports which cover announcements of different products or announcements of alliances, announcements of any mergers or acquisitions made by the industry stakeholders. So there are these very short market brief documents which are sent out to the technology buyers. In fact, the core focus of all of these reports is technology buyers. Very soon, we'll be coming out with industry outlook reports, which are more futuristic in outlook. And we would be sharing the key challenges that the organizations are facing in analytics, AI, data management, and GCC tech ecosystems, and the priorities of all of these enterprises for the next 6 to 12 months. The third pillar is the IT vendor growth solutions, wherein we help the vendor community in the analytics, AI, and GCC ecosystems with custom research around competitive intelligence, market intelligence, roundtable sessions, webinars, and account-based marketing activities. And we are starting out with IT executive advisory. This is pure play advisory services focused on the tech buyer segment. And we would be helping them with overall tech strategy, use cases, ROI around analytics and AI, and now agentic AI. We would be helping them with vendor selection and the entire RFP process management. This is going to be one of the key mainstays for our IT executive advisory services. I've already introduced the team, but let's just put faces to the names here. So I am the Senior Director for Research and Advisory. We have on the call Navneet and Abhijit. They are my co-speakers. We also have on the call Yashashri and Abhishek, and I think Shubhajit is the Senior Manager for BD and Sales. He has also joined the call. Okay, so let's get down to the topic. So here I'm going to take one report, which is the Agentic AI Playbook for Sales and Marketing Leaders, and I'm going to present some key insights from this specific report. And just one request, let's make this an interactive session. I would request all the participants to type in your questions in case you have any questions. Please feel free to send us those questions using the chat box. And we'll be happy to take questions either at the end of each segment. So we have 2 specific segments. The first segment, this is the first segment, which is focused on agentic AI. So we will, and the second section is the GCC segment. So we will take questions at the end of each segment, ideally. In case we are not able to do so in the interest of time, we will club all the questions and we'll try and answer all the questions at the end. Okay. So when we look at agentic AI, I think one of the first points, in fact, this is one of the key questions which has been raised by a number of sales and marketing leaders I have met over the last 2-3 weeks. One of the most important questions is agentic AI the buzzword or is it a reality? Are organizations really looking at agentic AI adoption? And this is actually the quote from one sales leader who said that agentic AI is definitely the buzzword of the year, but behind closed doors, many sales and marketing teams, most sales and marketing teams are still guessing who the real buyer is and what is the real problem that the sales and marketing leaders are actually trying to solve. In fact, there were several opinions which said that agentic AI is actually the solution looking for a specific problem. And I'm sure many of you would resonate with the point that we have all heard about some of these statements being made for GenAI as well. In fact, the excitement and interest that we had earlier seen for GenAI, we are now seeing that with agentic AI as well. So right now, I think it is very important for us to try and understand First of all of us in the room, I think most of us are sales and marketing leaders, and each one of us really wants to have a playbook for agentic AI. But in order to build a playbook, we need some essential AI intelligence. What is this intelligence that we need about agentic AI? So we need market understanding. We need what is happening as far as the service as far as the service provider ecosystem is concerned. So we need some insights around competition, and obviously, we will be coming out with our own GTM strategy and execution plans. So we need some insights around GTM. So what kind of insights are we looking at when we look at market understanding? So very common ones. So is the agentic AI opportunity for real? If yes, what is that potential? How big is the opportunity pie in terms of the dollar value? What is the enterprise maturity and adoption globally? We actually focus on covering trends at a global level. So I would try and give you insights as to what is happening globally. What is the adoption globally? By what is the adoption by different countries, by different industries? What kind of use cases are organizations looking at? This is really important for sales and marketing leaders because we are specifically looking for entry points into our potential customer accounts. And for that, we should look out for specific use cases which are repeatable, which are credible, which generate value almost instantaneously, at least in a month's time, if not more. So, what are some of these use cases which are repeatable, credible, which can be taken by the sales and marketing teams to their customers? Then, obviously, on the GTM side, we are looking at the typical ICP, the ideal customer profile. We are looking at buyer personas. We are looking at the messaging and the value proposition clarity, what to say, what not to say. And there's a lot of jargon being thrown at right now in the area of agentic AI. So, how should we simplify all of this agentic AI and AI level talk? Obviously, there would be different sales objections, and how should we handle all of these sales objections? On the competition and solution provider side, what is the overall agentic AI ecosystem looking like right now? Who are the different stakeholders? Who are the different service providers? Which are the different agentic AI platforms? Which are the top agentic AI startups which are operating in this specific space? And when we are looking at all of this ecosystem landscape, it becomes very important for us as sales and marketing leaders in this room to identify the real differentiating factors. Because once we do that, and then we should also take a look at the white or the blue space opportunities which are available for us in this agentic AI space. So we are covering all of these insights in this specific report. And the next 15-20 minutes, I'm going to talk about some of the key insights. Let me just straight away give you the overall opportunity pie. So one of the first statements that I want to make is that the interest and excitement, as I said, for GenAI was real high when it was launched in 2022 November. And there was a mad rush for organizations to actually implement GenAI use cases. But over the last 2 years, we have seen limited value coming in from GenAI, obviously because of certain limitations. And over the last 3-4 months, we have seen the same mad rush, in fact, a greater mad rush for agentic AI. Every organization, be it the enterprises or be the service providers, be the solution providers, everybody has started talking about agentic AI. The solution providers have started adopting or incorporating agentic AI capabilities within their respective solutions, be it services, be it platforms, be it software capabilities, etc. And the enterprises have also started exploring agentic AI through a lot of use case pilots. Right now, according to our estimates, we are looking at a very nascent agentic AI solutions market, and this includes Gen AI, this includes hardware, software, and services. We're looking at a market estimate of close to about $7.5 billion right now. And we are calling 2025 as a spark year. This is the year when organizations really are excited about the prospects of agentic AI, and they have started adopting pilots. The real shift is going to take place in 2026 when there is some real value which is which is derived from the current agentic AI pilots and those use cases which are limited in number right now, but those use cases which are moved into production right now. So as and when organizations start some real value, that is when the real shift or the next frontier will happen next year. And from 2027, we are looking at mainstreaming of agentic AI. Obviously, this depends on a lot of factors. Obviously, the most important is the rise in technology maturity for agentic AI solutions, which would definitely lead to, let's say, derivation of the enterprise value for a lot of organizations. Uh, and that is why I've given you two views. One is a pragmatic view and one is an optimistic view. If we assume for a moment that all of the factors for enterprise adoption mainstreaming would actually materialize over the next couple of years, we are looking at a stark growth in the agentic AI solutions market. We are looking at close to about 70 odd billion dollars, which means almost a 10x leap over the next 2 years. This is a fairly optimistic view of the overall AI solutions market size scenario. But we are also trying to give you a very, very pragmatic view of the overall solutions market. In that case, the figure will be close to about 23 odd billion dollars. And this will be almost a 3x kind of a leap. And if you look at if you just have to assess the overall agentic AI solutions market uh, using the context of overall AI solutions, I think that's a very good proxy. So organizations, let's say, spend about $100 on AI solutions overall right now. Right now, I think they are spending close to about 3-4% of the overall AI budget on agentic AI solutions. We are expecting, if you take a pragmatic view, we are expecting close to about 10 odd percentage of 10 to 12% adoption, 10 to 12% spending on agentic AI as a percentage of AI solutions budget by 2027. Obviously, the optimistic view is actually much larger. How do these numbers come from? So basically, one of the key factors that we have looked at is we have actually conducted a survey, and we are going to we are going to refresh this study on agentic AI from. We have actually launched this study refresh already last week. Uh, but one of the key research surveys for us point out to the fact that a lot of organizations have already started engaging with agentic AI. More than half of the organizations they are actually already working on pilots. There is a very minuscule number, less than 10%. 8% of organizations have already moved those AI pilot projects, agentic AI pilot projects that they had started working on into production. And close to about 37% organizations, which is more than one third of the organizations covered in the survey, they are already exploring use cases. So I think pilots are already there. There's a lot of discussion of use cases. The real chasm would be moving the organizations from POC to production. That's the real chasm, which will actually make or break the mainstreaming scenario in 2027. So where are the top agentic AI investments? The top agentic AI investments, if you look at the top countries, this is in decreasing order of adoption. USA is the leading country with a multitude of organizations. I think if you just look at the percentage of organizations that have moved agentic AI pilots into production, that would be around 13-14%. Followed by UK, India, Singapore, and Germany. I think we have participants from the APAC region as well. So we have countries like Singapore and India, which have actually leapfrogged even some of the more advanced countries in Western Europe as far as agentic AI is concerned. When we look at top three industry verticals, we have technology, software, and internet, and this includes the whole range of software development firms, IT services firms, internet companies, which have actually adopted agentic AI, as the first movers. And then obviously we have the usual suspects, the financial services firms, the banks, financial services firms, as well as insurance companies, which have adopted agentic AI in a wide range of use cases, which span from cross-horizontal use cases, cross-function horizontal use cases to very, very specific use cases as well. And then we have retail and wholesale. What are the top 5 business functions for which agentic AI use cases have been adopted? If you look at some of the cross-function use cases, the top business functions are customer support and experience, and followed by IT operations and service management, sales and revenue operations, marketing, finance, and procurement. Since most of the participants are from the Indian market, at least most of the participants on this call are from the Indian market. So I just wanted to give you a sense of which are those organizations which have started adopting agentic AI into their specific functions. So ICICI Bank, financial services firms like ICICI Bank, ICICI Lombard, HDFC Bank, all of these have actually started using AI agents for customer service, for IT operations. There are pockets of use cases which are being explored for specific products. For example, WhatsApp banking, loan assistance in the example of HDFC Bank, for credit card servicing for HDFC Bank. On the technology and software side, we are looking at Wipro, LTI, and TCS, which have used some of these in across, let's say, sales, marketing, coding, IT service management, and so on and so forth. On the retail and wholesale side, we are looking at companies like Flipkart, Nykaa, and Meesho, which have adopted agentic AI for product recommendations, for customer service, for marketing, for campaign testing, for product descriptions, and so on and so forth. I would now request my colleague Navneet to present his views on. He will actually take you through a deep dive of some of these agentic AI use cases across functions, across industry verticals. And most of these insights are from the report, which is Top Agentic AI Services Providers, PEMA quadrant that we recently completed. Over to you, Navneet.
Thank you, Sandeep. Good evening, everyone. My name is Navneet Ramesh, lead analyst at ON Research. I appreciate you taking time to join this session. I see.
I would request the participants to be on mute, please. When you have questions, you can unmute yourself and ask questions later. Thank you so much. Navneet, please continue.
I'll be presenting on agentic AI use cases for the next 10 to 15 minutes. All the insights I will be sharing during this period would be based on AIM Research 2025 PAMA quadrant analysis and our engagement with the service providers who are offering solutions in this space. There are actually a couple of leaders with whom I've engaged for this report discussion. We will explore how agentic AI is applied, where it is delivering value, and evolving trends that enterprise leaders or AI service providers should be aware of as agentic AI moves increasingly from pilot projects into core operational capabilities. What you see in this screen is agentic AI use cases split into two broad categories from the enterprise environment perspective. First, there is enterprise process improvement, which is primarily internal facing. These AI agents focus on streamlining workflows, automating repetitive tasks, and enhancing operational efficiency. Think of applications such as HR workflow automation or claims processing as example for this. The goal in this case is straightforward, to reduce operational costs, improve process consistency, and increase throughput without actually linearly increasing the headcount. The second perspective is we have market-facing or business transformation use cases. These refer to agentic AI systems that directly interact with customers or end users, generally aiming to improve customer engagement, create new revenue streams, or enable better product experiences. Examples, personalized shopping assistants that guide customers through product discovery, or customer support bots that reduce reliance on call center staff. If you could please move to the next one. So our data shows a current allocation of approximately 65% of agentic AI deployments focused on experimentation and deployments focused on internal process mainly, while around 35% address the market-facing transformation. This split reflects a natural risk and investment balance. Organizations first optimize internal operations before scaling AI to external customer interactions. Many of the leaders who are in this call can vouch for this. When I was talking to service providers who are offering agentic AI solutions, even for them, the first start for the agentic AI process was internal. Then they took it as a proof value to their customers. Examining current adoption trends, the dominance of internal facing AI makes practical sense. Enterprises generally prioritize internal automation because it presents lower risk profile and clearer, more measurable returns on investment. Coming to the horizontal what sort of industry focus is currently there based on the discussions that we have had with 25 plus vendors who are offering agentic AI services. Around 51% of the current use cases are horizontal, that is cross-industry solutions. You can think of customer onboarding agents, generic service bots, supply chain planning tools, engineering and software development areas. These have broadly uh, adopted agentic AI, I would say. The remaining 49% are verticalized solutions tailored specific to industries with unique process, regulatory requirements, and domain knowledge, which is scaling up fast. For instance, financial services use AI agents for specialized underwriting, fraud detection, healthcare employees, agents for clinical trial automation, patient record management. Retail leverages personalized shopping agents tuned to customer behavior. There is a close split between these two. The split illustrates a clear pattern. Horizontal solutions offer speed and scale, but organizations increasingly recognize the deep industry expertise embedded in AI systems, which delivers a sustainable competitive advantage. If you could please move to the next one. Let's look at the split between different industries here. So the overall cross industry is currently leading. The sectors mostly actively deploying agentic AI reflect a blend of operational complexity and scale. For example, banking, financial services, insurance stand out as early adopters, driven by operational volumes that exist, risk management needs, compliance obligations, manufacturing and industrial firms follow closely, utilizing AI for predictive maintenance and workflow optimization, where downtime costs are really critical. Then healthcare and life sciences invest heavily to automate clinical workflows, manage vast patient data securely, and accelerate research. The similar pattern flows for the other industries that we have indicated here. Please come to the next one. So going forward for all the subsequent slides, we will be indicating some of the frequently observed use cases that all the service providers showcase to us during our report making of agentic AI service providers from our quarter 2025. Coming to the VFSI segment, agentic AI application is comprehensive and deeply integrated. Though the general notion is this is a risky field to enter, there are due to the complexity and the scale of the work, there are certain areas like insurance, credit risk modeling, wealth and investment management, which are already seeing adoption. Lending and procurement also sees agentic AI support, where reducing manual touch points in RFP evaluations and strategic sourcing can really help. The cumulative benefit across these dimensions is clear: reduced processing time, enhanced data reliability, lower compliance risk, lower operational costs due to adoption of agentic AI. Let's come to some of the cross-industry use cases. This you guys would be very familiar with. Talk about sales, conversational customer support agents. These are something that was already there during the generative AI use cases, which we may have touched on in the previous discussions. But in engineering and software development, code generation, debugging agents have accelerated development cycles and improvement in terms of the overall code quality. Planning and forecasting agents support resource allocation, demand reconciliation, informed decision making. Risk compliance and regulatory agents automate audit trails, validate adherence to policies, extract ESG related data, reducing compliance burden. So these are some of the common use cases that we are seeing, which is adopted across different verticals. Hence, the categorization is cross-industry. Let's go to the next one. Healthcare is a prime example. If we could move to the next one. Healthcare is a prime example sector with complex workflows and regulatory requirements benefiting from verticalized agentic AI. Clinical and patient support agents improve triage through automated assessment. We can analyze patient records for decision support, match candidates to clinical trials more efficiently. Claims and compliance agents autonomously process documentation, validate compliance, and prepare reports, reducing administrative overhead and error. So similar type of use cases we can observe across manufacturing, logistics, retail, security, and other industries as well. If any of you uh, are actually interested in learning more about the use cases, we are happy to connect with you one-on-one, go through more, go through in much more details for all these use cases. With this, I'll request Sandeep to take the further slides.
Okay, great. Thank you, Navneet. In fact, that coverage on use cases was very comprehensive. And as Navneet said, in case any of you would like a deeper dive on any of the use cases across industries, across cross functions, please feel free to reach out and we will be happy to schedule a one-on-one conversation with you and your leaders. I would like to continue with the conversation around the playbook. So I think we have looked at the market understanding. So you would remember the questions that were there in the market understanding section. So we looked at the opportunity. Is the opportunity real? How big is the opportunity by industries, by countries, by use cases? Now we will take a look at some specific GTM, GTM related insights. So I think as sales and marketing leaders, all of us are really looking for signals for adoption. So I think if you analyze all of these use cases across industries and across functions that Navneet was earlier referring to, you would find some of these signals. I'll give you some specific examples. So let's say that one of the first signals is that you are already taking a look at the proliferation of domain-specific co-pilots across specific functions. So you would find organizations which have actually adopted co-pilots, maybe in the area of IT, in the area of coding, or maybe for HR, finance, legal, and so on and so forth. This actually signals the fact that they're already at a certain level of maturity with regards to Gen AI and Agentic AI adoption. So I think they've already adopted Gen AI use cases. There's a fair degree of automation that these organizations are looking at. So I think most of these organizations are prime candidates for Agentic AI adoption. Then obviously you look at a segment of organizations with very high operational fragmentation and workflow bottlenecks. You would find manual processes, multiple tools, disjointed processes, and reliance on collaboration with manual handoffs, all of these which hamper execution speed. And you would normally find some of these signals from IT services. In fact, IT service management, I was just speaking to a sales and marketing leader last week, and we were just discussing as to how, more than 30-40 billion dollars overall from a solutions standpoint has been thrown at just IT service management. If you include all the platform, software, and services, and apart from the manpower resources that are there, more than 30-40 billion dollars are being spent on just on IT service management. And yet we see huge bottlenecks in IT services delivery, in typical IT service management. So you would find these kind of signals in IT service management. Obviously, there are other signals where you have these high operational fragmentations, for example, in manufacturing operations, across different activities in supply chain, finance close cycles. I think finance close is another very interesting use case that you would definitely find as a prime candidate for Agentic AI adoption across the industry lives, across industries, across countries as well, if you look at Agentic AI adoption. Then obviously cost and resource pressure definitely is there, and you would find most of these signals coming out from customer support, marketing operations, delivery functions, HR functions, for example. So these are prime candidates for Agentic AI adoption. And then obviously one of the key signals that you should look out for is whether the organization has maturity in AI, ML or not, whether they have maturity across data infrastructure, or whether they have COEs, maybe in analytics or RPA or automation. If you find organizations having some of these, then obviously they are prime candidates for the next level of agentic led automation. So moving ahead, I just wanted to give you an idea of the overall ICP for BFSI, and I've already talked about some of the triggers. I think BFSI is one of the usual suspects for agentic AI adoption. And this is predominantly B2C with huge high volume customer interactions, and it has to follow a strict compliance, and obviously there are very large teams which have to support this high volume customer interactions. So there are these triggers that you should look at, and along these triggers you definitely need to monitor and measure some of these KPIs. You need to closely observe some of these KPIs. I'll just give you one example, and then maybe talk about some of the buyer personas. So if you just take a look at customer service and transaction volumes, you would remember most of the agentic AI use cases currently are in the area of customer service. And I gave you some examples as well: ICICI Bank, ICICI Lombard, HDFC Bank, and so on and so forth. So there you see a surge in customer service and transaction volumes over the last 2 3 years. And the number of contact center people, the number of people manning the customer service team is actually quite stagnant. In fact, it has reduced after the RPA adoption. It has reduced after intelligent automation, maybe the usage of AI by 10 20% over the last 2 to 3 years. But the problems in customer service still exist. So, for example, the CSAT scores are dropping, the AHTs are actually rising, the resolution rates are dropping, and so on and so forth. So you definitely find all of these KPIs with BFSI customers. And when you look at typical buyer personas, I think right now the IT team, the CIO, CTO team, the CDO team is definitely the most knowledgeable stakeholder within the organization as far as AI and agentic AI is concerned. And there's a limited budget which the IT team also has allocated for agentic AI, which is a function of the overall IT budget, overall AI budget, and the IT budget. But I think most of the interesting requirements are coming from the business teams. So, as sales and marketing leaders in the room, I think we should all be cognizant of the fact that we also have to target business functions, and business leaders, because most of the requirements right now for pilots are coming from them. They will just specify their requirements, the pain points, and obviously agentic AI can be positioned as one of the key pillars of that overall solution. While this is the case, the RFP and the entire management of the solution is still being run by the IT teams. Uh, in the interest of time, I'll quickly move past across this slide. I will just talk about the top vendor selection criteria. I think in a room full of sales and marketing leaders, you definitely want to understand what's in the minds of the tech buyers when they're looking at selection of agentic AI vendors. And here we are mostly looking at service providers. So we are looking at, these are the top vendor selection criteria in the minds of the tech buyers. So they're looking at organizations, service providers with multi-agent orchestration capabilities. They're looking at organizations with deep systems integration and interoperability capabilities. I think the first two are very, very important, especially the second one, because the agents and the multi-agent systems have to actually integrate with a lot of existing applications, including legacy applications. And this is often the most difficult challenge, the most difficult problem to solve for a lot of enterprises. So service providers which build differentiations around systems integration, interoperability, as well as orchestration of agents, I think they are clearly distinguishing factors, differentiating factors for service providers. Obviously, when we look at organizations from a function standpoint as well as from an industry standpoint, we have to customize the agents. And this context is very, very important. So I think service providers which bring in a lot of industry, function, and technology domain expertise, they are clearly being favored by the tech buyers. And obviously, tech buyers also looking at organizations with already use case maturity and proven references. And obviously, TCO definitely is one of the key factors that the tech buyers are looking at. But TCO comes actually much later right now in the conversations. Most of the conversations revolve around how the service providers can bring in all the other capabilities that I talked about, specifically the multi-agent orchestration capabilities, integration, and customizability. I will quickly pass on the baton to my colleague Abhijit in the interest of time. Abhijit, I would request you to take the attendees through the GCC market trends in India. Over to you.
Hi everyone, very good evening. Thanks everyone for joining this webinar, this session. Today, we are going to talk about two major reports that we did this year focused on the GCC specifically, or Global Capability Centers. First is Capability Question Quadrant, or CQ Square Quadrant, which focuses on operational excellence for the GCCs. And the second major and very important topic around state-driven policies and initiatives which are helping GCCs to set up in India. Before we start, I just want to give a very short snapshot of current India's GCC landscape. I request Sandeep to move to the next slide. So, we currently, according to our database, there are 1400 plus GCCs in India, and India's being the center for these GCCs to set up their operational, their functions, their shared services, and their technology centers. Overall, we see United States as having the highest share. 49% of the companies are US based, which have their GCC centers in India. Bangalore, obviously, no doubt, have more than is the hub for GCCs, having more than 850 GCCs in India, followed by Hyderabad and Mumbai. And obviously, GCCs are one of the highest employers in India, hiring like 2.2 million people in India. Jumping to our main topic, which is like our capability question quadrant, CQ square, will showcase the quadrant which we did this year. We featured over 40 plus players, specifically from the BFSI sectors, and we placed in different areas, which are, you can see, leading innovators, operational specialists, people first builders, and emerging developers. Now, question comes ki how we have figured out to put these players in this quadrant across these four areas. So we designed a framework which is divided into two axes majorly. First is the human capital development axis, which is the x-axis, and the second one is a strategic value creation, which is the y-axis. Now, when we say operational excellence, so what is operational excellence and why it should be important for GCC specifically? Would request Sandeep to come to the next slide. So, in a basic and a simple term, operational excellence is finding better ways to work, process faster, and finding the best ways to reduce any sort of mistakes, and making sure the work is done within time. So when it comes to GCCs, there are three E's which I call PQ, which is doing more with fewer resources, which is efficiency, doing the right things first time, effectiveness, and making sure that both employees and customers are happy. So coming to the details of these axes which I spoke about, on which we have developed this quadrant, human capital development axis and the strategic value creation, have also contains some of the sub parameters within this. Within the human capital development, would request Sandeep to move to the next slides. So within the human capital development, we considered sub-parameters, the major four parameters, which is efficiency-driven workforce, skill development focus, employee engagement initiatives, people-centric culture. So I will first discuss about human capital development sub-parameters. Efficiency-driven workforce. This means a company focuses on getting the most work done with least waste time or money. Employees should get encouraged, meet targets, and keep things cost effective. Coming to skill development focus. So we have seen there are different initiatives have been taken by both GCCs and other organizations in increasing the amount of skill development of their employees, whether it's doing by hackathons, webinar, external engagement, knowledge session, mentorship programs. These are the few things which I think GCCs should focus while doing the skill development. Now comes employee engagement initiatives. Now, employee engagement initiatives is basically where employees are getting a transparent view of the organization. By this, I mean uh, to engage employees in different sort of tasks or activities which is not just based out of work, but which is like also including team building activities. The last one is people-centric culture. This refers to a workplace that cares about the employees and includes fair policies, supports for mental and physical well-being, and different sort of work models, leave policies, and mandatory leave policies. So this covers the human capital development category x-axis, in which we have included or ranked all the BFSI GCCs. Coming to strategic value creation, the y-axis, which focuses on operational focus, process optimization, domain expertise, and autonomous decision making. Talking about operational focus, this uh, focus on the how much companies' important work is being handled to India's centers. Operational focus is like how much of the business is actually leading by the Indian GCC centers. Second is process optimization. This means companies finding smarter or faster ways doing work by cutting down unnecessary steps or using some sort of my bad, automation tools and always looking ways to improve how things are done. Now, third thing is come, which is very relevant to when I spoke about skill development, is domain expertise. So domain expertise shows to understand specific industry or function, for example, how skilled and knowledgeable they are in areas like finance, healthcare, or supply chain. So these domain expertise will just match with the our human capital point skill development. Now, these are the three major points. At the end is the last and the most important point is how much the GCCs have the decision making power or like autonomous decision making. So this checks how much freedom India centers has to make important decision on their. Are they developing COEs? Are they in the phase of becoming a transformation hub? Are the major product developments, R&D are being done in India? So these two are the main pillars when we speak about operational excellence, human capital development and strategic value creation. Now coming to the next slides, which shows how these. So when I spoke about operational excellence, so basically this is the integral part on how global capability centers these can achieve internally in terms of when it comes to achieving operational excellence. Obviously, these companies also used to known as cost centers and have specific budgets. So how these companies or these global capability centers going to find help externally as so this is why
Abhijit, so sorry to cut you here. I would just have a cue for all the sales and marketing leaders. I think GCC, if GCC is a segment that you're focusing on, I would like to draw your attention to this particular quadrant, wherein you take a look at leading innovators, you take a look at operational specialists and emerging developers. I think from a sales and marketing standpoint, you're clearly looking at these two quadrants, operational specialists and emerging developers to target. And obviously, if anybody is interested, Abhijit and I can take you through all of these organizations in details. We could talk about what could be maybe some of the sales and marketing related talking points for you whenever you have to approach these segments of organizations, operational specialists and emerging developers. But this is actually goldmine, Abhijit. Thank you for covering this research report. Go ahead, please.
thank you, Sandeep. Continuing to the point where I was speaking about when it comes to achieving operational excellence, how I spoke about how internally global capability centers can achieve this by focusing on two major areas, which are human capital development and how to create strategic value creation. But obviously, these are cost centers, these are captive centers. These companies have specific budgets allocated by their parent organization. So definitely they will be looking for some external resources, for some external collaboration. When I say that the state policies or state-driven policies or initiatives reports coming. So there are, and I am going to speak about how this connects with the previous report. So state-led, we all know that in 2-3 years there have been different states, whether we say Karnataka, whether we say Uttar Pradesh, whether we say Telangana, have come with their different GCC policies. Karnataka government says that in next 2 to 3 years they want to increase the count and want to add 500 more plus GCCs. UP or Uttar Pradesh government has created a different platform of different web page which says Invest UP, in which they showcase they want to like welcome 1000 plus GCCs within their states. So when we talk about operational excellence and GCC policies, first we look about the cost cutting area. So how these state policies are helping in infrastructure connectivity. So they are providing SEZs or developed IT zones. They are providing talent availability. Major of the GCCs, because of these policies, have started to shifting towards tier two cities as well. The third thing is ease of doing business. So some of the states, Karnataka and Hyderabad specifically, Karnataka and Telangana specifically, have come with a single window clearance and regulatory supports to reduce delay and allowing GCC to focus on performance. So these sort of initiatives they are coming with. Then there are fourth and most important cost and compliance advantages. Some of the incentives and tax rebates, rental subsidies, power cost reimbursement, uh, and enabling cost efficient operation without compromising quality. So these sort of initiatives and policies, different states are coming with. So right now we have Karnataka, we have Telangana, we have Andhra Pradesh, we have Kerala, we have Tamil Nadu, we have Haryana. These states have their specific or customized GCC policy. In next few months, we are going to see Goa, uh, Rajasthan, which are going to come with their specific GCC policies, which are going to be different from what they usually speak about their industry policy. So in next slides, this heat map, which you can see on the screen, it shows different focus of these states when we say or when we talk about GCC policy. So if you see from Karnataka to Hyderabad, we consider these as the leading hubs, which have which are majorly focusing on ease of doing business. When we speak about Uttar Pradesh to Gujarat, these are some of the emerging hubs which have recently come with their GCC specific policy, and their major focus is towards infrastructure development. The upcoming hubs, out of which I think only Madhya Pradesh right now have come with their specific GCC policy apart from their industry policy. And from West Bengal to Goa, these four states are focusing on both on infrastructure development and skill development. So this heat map basically shows a moderate to high focus of these states when it comes to GCC specific policies. So this overall, I just want to conclude this discussion of my two reports, that how these GCCs are, whether it's GCCs achieving the operational excellence, or whether how these states will help in helping these GCCs in getting established in India, or whether achieving in terms of operational excellence or whether in terms of expansions. Also very interesting how these GCCs, when our major topic is Agentic AI, are delving towards those areas and also uh, acquiring some or opening some major of the AI COEs within India. So I just want to conclude this topic over here, and I want to speak about our like recently upcoming reports which will come. Is like vendors landscape of GCC service providers. So this is one of the excellent report that we started last year, which will focus on some of the GCC service providers. Now, when we talk about or speak about GCC service providers, uh, this will feature those companies which provide end-to-end services or a package of services for the global capability centers. So to set up their centers in India, whether it's like finding a location in terms of real estate, in terms of audit, in terms of IT infrastructure, in terms of talent acquisition. This will feature all the top service providers in India which are helping GCCs to set up their centers in India. I will move ahead and give this to Navneet to just put a highlight on PEMA quadrant, upcoming PEMA quadrant for data science service provider. Thank you, everyone.
So currently we have uh, started accepting the nominations to participate within data science service providers PEMA quadrant. If any of you are interested or if you know somebody for who this would be a right to participate, please do inform them. For all the participants for this discussion, we will send out materials along with the links to nominate themselves for the registration.
Great, thank
Hand
you.
it over to Sandeep.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Abhijit and Navneet. So these two reports, one report has already been launched and the other one is going to be launched soon. So I would request, in case you are interested to participate, please feel free to reach out, and Navneet and Abhijit will help you regarding this. I just wanted to take the opportunity and invite you to Cypher. Cypher is touted to be India's biggest AI summit and expo. We have this in September 17th to 19th. The focus is AI, and this is in the city of Bangalore. So this is what I have for this particular session. It has been a very long conversation. I would just see if we have any questions in the chat box. Okay, so we have a couple of questions. One of the first questions is, have the GCC started agentic AI initiatives? What maturity levels are they on majority of use cases or initiatives? I think Abhijit was trying to answer this question in part towards the end of his segment, wherein he mentioned that there are a number of GCCs which have already set up AI COEs.
So
Abhijit, would you like to expand on this?
yeah, so I just give the answer to this question. So last year we did a report on created a Gen AI maturity framework, which was focused towards enterprises only, which was focused towards on GCCs only. And it would be a big, I don't think it would be a big surprise to tell out of that survey which we did, and it was sector specific survey. BFSI was the highest sector in adopting AI and GenAI in their enterprises. Coming to the point, if these GCCs have started focusing towards agentic AI. So I think it is like very new and recent news that JP Morgan have opened a specific agentic AI COE recently. And I think a day before yesterday, Eli Lilly opened a new, expanded their new center to Hyderabad, which will be focusing on AI and GenAI. Goes to Daikin, which I like in collaboration with EY recently opened in Hyderabad, they are also focusing on AI, GenAI, and digital services. So I don't think the GCCs are any behind when it comes to GenAI or AI or agentic AI to like in terms of maturity or in terms of adopting these technologies.
So let me actually qualify that answer, Abhijit. So I'll give you some sense as to overall adoption. I think Abhijit has captured it nicely that a majority of the GCCs have actually started analytics RPA centers, and they are slowly and steadily progressing. They've progressed towards AI, and they've also progressed towards Gen AI. A significant chunk, I would say about 15-20% of those GCCs have also started exploring agentic AI use cases. If you look at, I think it also gave you some examples, JP Morgan, he gave you some examples of pharma companies and so on and so forth. I could also give you some examples of BFSI GCCs which have already started working on agentic AI pilots. And examples include HSBC, Morgan Stanley, ANZ, CBA, Commonwealth Bank of Australia. I think all of these companies, Visa is into payment space. I think all of these companies have already started working on agentic AI pilots. And as far as maturity is concerned, I don't think the maturity is high as far as agentic AI is concerned right now. Most of them have started exploring specific use cases around risk, around compliance, around customer service. But I don't think the agentic AI systems are mature enough right now. So if you want to target GCCs with regards to agentic AI, I think that's a very hot opportunity right now. All of these GCCs right now, all the examples that I gave right now, they are struggling with agentic AI initiatives. So that's the right opportunity for you. The other point is, can you share the slides after the session? Yes, Narendra, thank you. We will share the slides after the session. Thank you, Rajesh, for your feedback. Agentic AI investments happening outside of India. Mayurika, are you there on the call?
Yes. Hi, Sandeep.
Hi, Mayurika. So, what examples are you looking for? Are you looking for examples of service providers? Are you looking for examples of Indian companies, which Indian software companies, IT services companies investing on agentic AI outside? Could you please qualify your question?
Yeah, sure. So I think you did, kind of segregate that, financial services was one of the top. Then you had tech, software, and internet-based companies. Again, tech and software, you gave examples of specifically service providers like Wipro and TCS, right? But beyond that, okay, you also mentioned internet. Can you give examples of not service providers, but actually businesses, okay, in the tech, software, and internet space? Or where they are kind of looking into making investments in agentic AI?
Sure, definitely. So in fact, we have a large list of unicorns and unicorns in the professional services space, in the personal services space, in the retail space, in the e-commerce space. I think all of them have started making investments in the agentic AI space. Mayurika, in case you're looking just specifically for examples globally, we can share the list of those companies after this call. But yes, you're absolutely right. There are a lot of companies which have started making investments.
Perfect. Yeah, that helps. That'll help. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you so much for this question.
Yeah, sure. I'm just going to paste another question though.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's specifically, you mentioned, we talked about how agentic AI pilots are being run. Basically business teams are managing these pilots while, traditional IT teams are actually managing the RFP and vendor engagement process.
Yes, great question. Yeah, great question. In fact, I'll give you specific examples. So customer service is definitely one of the business functions that you should be targeting. And when you look at customer service, I think you should ideally look at business heads for customer service contact center. So you would find designations such as head of customer service, head of contact center operations. Ideally, these people roll up to the chief operating officer and also maybe to the CFO. So starting from CFO, COO, head of contact center, head of customer service, all of these are relevant profiles for you. With marketing, you should ideally target CMO, marketing director, senior marketing director, again with the HR as well. So these are some relevant profiles that you should be targeting on the business side.
Great, thanks.
So my suggestion is that you should ideally look at specific use cases and specific functions and you should ideally approach the functional head. But let me also tell you that ultimately these guys roll up to, most of these guys either roll up to the CFO or the COO. So it would also be worthwhile to take a top-down approach, Mayurika, and start approaching the CFO and the COO as well.
Excellent. I think that answers my question. Another question, just as a follow-up, are there any emerging roles that you're seeing, with agentic AI coming into play?
Emerging roles as in the Chief Agentic AI Officer?
Something like that, yes. I mean, are there any are there major structural changes that are happening within
No. There are no major structural changes happening right now. It is currently being driven by the data science team, the AI team, the analytics team. This is obviously the IT team. So it is currently being driven by this team right now. There's no specific agentic AI team. Team, do you have any specific insights?
I just wanted to add this because like when last year like there was a hype about GenAI, and this year there is a hype about Agentic AI. This question every year used to come to me. There will be like specific roles or specific designations. If we talk about like Agentic AI or a GenAI. So see, there can be fancy elements or a fancy designation, but the task is going to be the same. So you can expect ki there could be, because we heard when like Gen AI hype went, ki there will be specific roles from prompt engineer. Then it transitioned to again to AI engineers. So I think fancy names can appear, but as Sandeep mentioned, there will be under the same teams of data science, AI, and different analytics team.
I think what Mayurika also is trying to get to is there are these fancy titles, Abhijit, and many a times in your sales and marketing campaigns, you have to get hold of these fancy titles. And sometimes these people are specifically meant to execute some of these activities. So right now, Mayurika, we in our research, current conversations with tech buyers, we haven't come across any major fancy structural changes happening in the teams right now. But again, maybe who knows? Maybe this might happen in the next 6 months. The IT market, agentic AI market is evolving very, very fast.
But in terms of sales and marketing, even when you look at the generative AI hiring plans, but the same thing we can extrapolate for agentic AI as well, I feel. Instead of sales and marketing folks being allocated on a general across different activities, it gotten more specific to the AI roles. So in terms of that, the activity they overall that they would do became more specialized, I would say, instead of new roles popping up.
True. Okay, so Navneet, since you're answering questions about agentic AI, I think many participants who have joined, I think some of the participants have already shared questions beforehand when we asked them about the expectations from this call. So I think one question that has come is when we are looking at BFSI, what is happening in the BFSI space, and why are we looking at overall BFSI and agentic AI as one of the first movers in this particular space?
So when I was actually doing the working on the Agentic AI service providers performance report, there as well, to my surprise, BFSI ranked high in Agentic AI adoption in specific areas like underwriting, risk scoring, lending, where structured process and high volume decisions generally benefit from automation, planning, and reasoning capabilities. These use cases generally involve human in the loop. There is no complete automation, I would say. All of these use cases involve human in the loop oversight, balancing efficiency with risk management and compliance. However, Sandeep, the broader adoption of agentic AI system is limited by the sector's regulatory complexity, sensitivity to autonomous decision making. If you remember when we were taking the roundtable with Accenture and MongoDB, one of the leaders suggested you can look at use case in this way. Is it really critical to explain how XYZ thing came to a conclusion? If it's really critical, that's not something that you have to look for agentic AI use case in BFSI. If there is some leeway for the adjustments in that particular area, you can go for agentic AI adoption. That's what they mentioned during that discussion. Again, to summarize, generally, whatever the areas where complexity is generally high and scale or volume on which the personnel are working is loaded, I think those are the cases where Agentic AI is penetrating, let's say.
Okay, great. So thank you so much. I think we don't have any more questions right now. Some of the questions I think we have already answered over an email. So I think we are at the end of the session.
Sanjay, this is Sham here.
Hi, Shyam.
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
So I have a question to Abhijit and you regarding the GCC related topic.
Sure.
So, like Abhijit, most of the GCC are moving from cost center to the profit center. They are going for the revenue generating mode. In that perspective, how this mature GCCs currently focusing on the revenue, they are willing to work with IT services companies. Are they looking at them as a competitor? Are they looking at a partner? How exactly it is going to be? Because I understand the beginners who are going to set up the GCC, they definitely need a partner, and they are not looking at a profit center. But the mature GCC, they've been here in India for the last 10 years, 15 years, 20 years right now. How do you see that market, from your perspective at least?
So right now, Abhijit, I'll just take a quick stab, and you being the expert, you add on to this. So Sham, basically, over the last few conversations that I've had with some of the mature GCCs who have been in Bangalore, Hyderabad for the last 10, 15 years, and there are these GCCs in the BFSI space, in the banking space, in the healthcare space. They have started offering their services to US companies, US customers, right? So uh, there are two models that are emerging right now. In fact, they are looking, the IT services companies definitely consider this to be some sort of competition. But from whatever I've heard from some of these GCCs, they are looking at these service providers mostly as partners. See, we have to understand that some of the capabilities that these GCCs have developed in India, for example, the analytics, and I'm referring to one GCC which is specializing in the healthcare space. So they do, so basically they provide healthcare services, clinical trial services to US pharma companies, to service to healthcare, service provider organizations in the US. So basically, they're looking at some of these analytics and AI focused, Gen AI focused services for US clients, and they're looking at outsourcing some of the work to the IT services companies. So this is how they are looking at this engagement right now. If you ask me, Sham, frankly, the number for some of these GCCs is fairly limited right now. It is not too large. So I don't think from a services provider's perspective, there's not too much reason or concern at this point in time. Abhijit, if you have any points to add on.
Yeah, I will agree from the point that Sandeep mentioned. There are very limited companies when it comes to like, are they considering these IT service providers as competitors? I don't think so. They are still considering them as a partners, as a service providers. Because if we talk about top or big GCCs, the chunk is very small. The large size GCCs in India is very small. There are majorly mid-sized GCCs and small
Okay.
GCCs when we spoke about by their employee size. So I also don't think they are considering IT service providers as their competitors. But again, I will like agree. There are very few GCCs. There are a handful of GCC companies which are like at this stage of like maturity, or like they have these sort of capabilities, or they have reached this sort of maturity when it comes to adopting GenAI AI or even Agentic AI.
Great.
All right.
Sham,
All right.
does this answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely, Sanjay. Thank you.
Okay, great. So I think we can take one more question. If anybody has any more questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question. Okay, I don't see any more questions coming from the audience here. So in that case, we will call it a day. Thank you so much for taking out time on a Thursday evening, on a Wednesday evening, sorry. And it has been a pleasure presenting all of these key insights to you. As I said earlier, that this is a monthly edition. This is the August edition, and we would be coming back to all of you next month, preferably in the first week. We are planning to continue with this AIM Research Monthly Pulse every week. Every month, in the first week of every month. So we will see each one of you hopefully again for the September edition for AIM Research Monthly Pulse. And just a side note that this was the India edition. We executed this taking into account the India time zone. We have another webinar which is planned for the US audience. And in case you have some, please mute yourself. In case you have some team members operating out of the US market or maybe European time zones, we have another webinar lined up on 7th, which is tomorrow. This is 4:30 to 5:30 EDT time, US time, US Eastern Coast time. So you can actually register for that webinar as well. You can ask your colleagues to join that webinar in case you're interested. We will send you the slides after this call. Maybe tomorrow morning we will send you the slides. And I would again like to thank you for taking out time and joining this webinar and asking very interesting questions towards the end. It has been a very interesting, engaging conversation. And I invite all of you to reach out to us with any specific queries that you might have on all of these areas that we've discussed today. And please participate in our upcoming research reports as well. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sandeep, and thank you, Abhijit, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.